Okay, good day, everyone. Thank you very much for this opportunity. My name is Mr. Henry Tete, tutor at Elum Presbyterian Senior High School. And today, concept we're going to delve into a very important aspect of a topic known as data communication, and we assess the whole topic under the heading with the inscription from the Chief Examiner's report and the remark from the Chief Examiners. And also, we're going to use the GAGNE 9 instructions and the constructivist approach to design this e-learning. So let's focus on the main aspect, which is the Chief Examiner's remark on the said topic. And I must reiterate that this question came, that was 2021 in the elective ICT question 13, and major students. So when you look at the whole report, the chief examiner brought out these remarks, and the first of it is they stated that there was a lacking in the definition. So a lot of students understood the whole concept, but how to define the data communication was a problem. And also they also reiterated that there was also other points where students were able to identify the various types of the data communication. That is the simplest duplex, half duplex, and the full duplex. But the problem or the challenge that they had was a lack of differentiation. How to differentiate between this kind of data transmission was a problem. So today we're going to talk about the whole issue. So this report guide us to understand the main issues and strengths observed by examiners and provide insight on how to improve teaching and learning strategies in the area of data communication. So for me, I believe data communication is just an exchange of data between two devices through a transmission medium. That could be cables or fiber optic cables, wireless signals, and etc. Now, let us shift our attention to the constructivist approach. And today, we're going to start our lesson by engaging us. So, introduction to hook. So, we will pose this question: how does the internet support billions of simultaneous users across the world? That is the question I posed to the class. And for them to be able to understand this question, I think we have to bring out real life situations where data play crucial roles, such as the global pandemic forcing the online world for work. So we need to begin by engaging them with real life situations. And also the next thing that we will do, I will describe or divide the groups, provide each group with different communication tools. Examples of those communication tools, like the walkie-talkies, talking about satellite fiber optic cables, early telephones, telegraph, landline phones. So we will instruct them to test the capabilities and limitations and recording observation. So we will do all these things to bring out those things out of them. Now the next thing is, after exploring them, we go to what we call explanation. You explain, bring the class back together to share their findings. So after the group work, all of us will come together and we share our experience as to how we were able to use those communication tools. So we have to create a concept map, organize different type of data communication through the simplest and the half duplex. The next thing, the constructivist learning approach, is how might future communication technology overcome current bandwidth and connectivity barriers. So we're going to elaborate on the things that we have taught them, elaborate and pose challenging questions for. That there's examples of those challenging questions is how might a future communication technology overcome current bandwidth and connectivity barrier. The next thing is to evaluate assessment. So you evaluate the assessment, whatever thing that they have done. Yeah, assigning mini projects to students to go and test their capabilities using cell phone network. So we do all these things for them to see the evaluation, whether they have been able to master whatever thing that they have done. And the last thing is how they are going to apply. So we are going to apply this in solving real life problems. So giving them project work to present or be creative enough to bring out something. For example, design a communication system for a remote area. So the class will give them a project work to design a communication system for a remote area. Now, this is so when you check the whole structure of the image of data communication, you see that whenever there is a communication, it is between a sender, it passes through a protocol, the message also passes through another protocol through the receiver, then the transmission medium. So what are some of the transmission medium? That is where we talk about the types of data communication, where we have the data communication, where we have the simple duplex, that is the simplest communication, where data transmission is unidirectional, meaning data flow only in one direction. So the keyboard sending data to a computer, and also the computer sending a signal to what? To the printer. It's a one directional hot. Then we also talk of the half duplex data transmission occur in both directions, but not simultaneously. So example is the walkie-talkie. It occur in both directions, so both can talk to each other, but not at the same time. And we have what we call the full duplex, where data occurs simultaneously in both directions. The example is the telephone conversation. Example is telephone conversation between two parties. Now, we also present to you class with this image of how the types of communication, medium of communication or data
Hello
communication
everyone,
types.
welcome to another
That is the
video.
simple
In this
duplex,
video
the
we
full
are going to
duplex,
talk
and the
about different
half
transmission types
duplex.
that are used in
Now,
networking, and those types are
this
simplex,
brings us to
half
the end of
duplex,
the
and full duplex.
constructivist
So
learning
let's talk
approach,
about one by
where
one. First we
it
can talk
tells
about
us
simplex.
how these things do occur. Now let us shift our attention to the how GAGNE 9
In
branch
simplex
of instruction
transmissions, data is sent in
effectively
one
used
direction
efficient
only.
click on data
Think of it as a one-way
communication
street
and
where
ICT.
traffic can
So
only
the
drive
GAGNE
in
9
one direction
instruction
down
is the
it.
9
An example is a
instructional
television
activities
broadcast where data is
students,
transmitted to receiving televisions, so only
teachers
one-way
or
transmission
instructors
take
use to
place. Another
teach students
example
in
of
class.
simplex
So today
transmission is data
I
being
will
sent
delve
from a
into the
computer
first
to
one,
a
which
printer.
is
Here
to gain
data is sending
attention.
only one
How do
direction.
I gain the attention of what? The student.
In
That's
half-duplex
so
transmissions, data is
we
sent in both
introduce
directions, but
videos and
only one
animation,
direction at a
various
time.
forms of data
So if
communication
computer A is
features.
sending data to
Persons
computer
using
B,
smartphones
computer
on
B has to wait
computer
until
network
computer A is
satellite
done before it can
communication.
send
So the
data to
main objective
computer
of
A.
this
So data
is
flows in one
to capture
direction at a
student
time.
interest. So
An
this
example of
video will capture
half-duplex
the
is just
interest
like
and
how
make them
walkie-talkies
curious
work. With
about how
walkie-talkies,
data
a person
communication.
has to
So
press a button. If they want to
as we
talk to
delve into
transmit
the
their voice
second
to the
one, which
other
is
person.
inform
And
learners
while the
of the
button is
objective.
pressed, information is
So
only
we will
going in
pause
one
here
direction.
and we
So
will
they can't
watch
hear the other
a
person
simple
while they're
video
transmitting
of
their
how
voice.
this
They would have to release the
goes on.
button in order to receive the
Hello
other person's
everyone.
transmission.
Welcome to another video. In this video we are going to talk about
In
different
full
transmission
duplex
types that are
transmissions,
used in
data is sent
networking,
in both
and those
directions
types
at the
are
same time. An
simplex,
example is a
half
telephone
duplex, and
conversation where
full
both people can
duplex.
speak to each other at
So
the
let's
same
talk
time.
about
Another
one by
example
one.
is
First we can
broadband
talk
connection
about
on a phone
simplex.
line. So, as a comparison between simplex,
In
half-duplex,
simplex
and full duplex,
transmissions,
you can use
data
an
is sent
analogy of
in one
cars on a
direction
highway,
only.
where you have
Think of
cars
it
that
as a
travel
one-way
only in
street
one-way
where
direction,
traffic can
can be
only
considered
drive
a
in one
simplex data
direction down
transmission.
it.
Where
An
you have
example
cars
is
that
a
across an
television
area. So when
broadcast
a
where
half-duplex,
data is
the cars would
transmitted
all
to
have to share
receiving
a single lane
televisions,
on the
so
highway
only
and that lane
one-way
only allows
transmission
traffic
take
in one
place.
direction at a time.
Another
But in a full
example of
duplex, the
simplex
cars don't have
transmission
to
is
wait because
data
you can
being
compare
sent
a
from a
full duplex
computer
as
to a
having a
printer.
two-lane
Here
highway. Each
data
lane
is
is
sending
dedicated
only
for a
one
direction.
direction.
The cars that are traveling in the opposite directions have their own
In
dedicated lane as they
half-duplex
travel to their
transmissions,
destination.
data is sent in both directions, but only one direction at a time.
Thank you for watching.
So if computer
Please
A is
subscribe our
sending
channel.
data to computer B has to wait until computer A is done before it can send data to computer A. So data flows in one direction at a time. An example of half-duplex is just like how walkie-talkies work. With walkie-talkies, a person has to press a button if they want to talk to transmit their voice to the other person. And while the button is pressed, information is only going in one direction, so they can't hear the other person while they're transmitting their voice. They would have to release the button in order to receive the other person's transmission. In full duplex transmissions, data is sent in both directions at the same time. An example is a telephone conversation where both people can speak to each other at the same time. Another example is broadband connection on a phone line. So, as a comparison between simplex, half-duplex, and full duplex, you can use an analogy of cars on a highway. Where you have cars that travel only in one-way direction, can be considered as simplex data transmission. Where you have cars that across an area, so when a half-duplex, the cars would all have to share a single lane on the highway, and that lane only allows traffic in one direction at a time. But in a full duplex, the cars don't have to wait, because you can compare a full duplex as having a two-lane highway. Each lane is dedicated for a direction. The cars that are traveling in the opposite directions have their own dedicated lane as they travel to their destination.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe our channel.
Thank you very much. I think and I believe this video would have done a lot of work for us in explaining the types of data communication, and I believe each and everyone understand the types of data communication, and even with this video it gives you a vivid description of how this work. So the GAGNE 9 instructions, the third of it is to stimulate recall, and that is where we will recall what we have learned in relation to so I'll ask, what have you learned in this video? So students can tell me what they have learned in this video, and I think it stimulates their recall of what they have learned, and we actively also prevent or present the content. So we present the content to you, and the main objective is to clear the comprehensive explanation of the main topic. So all these things are done to provide a clear and comprehensive explanation to the main topic. Now, we also provide what we call learning guide. That is the main objective, to help students grasp. So we offer tips, we give them examples of analogies. All these things have been explained in our videos as to the half duplex and the full duplex. All these things have been explained in our videos. And the next of it is to elicit performance. That is practice. You bring them devices, allow students to apply what they have learned. So you introduce the mobile phone in class, and make sure we use the walkie-talkie, we use other devices to demonstrate. So students themselves will demonstrate what they have learned. Then also the next one is to providing feedback after what they have done with the demonstration of how they can use the devices. I will come in and show them whether what they have done is correct or not. So just a way of providing feedback. We can also give them quizzes, and this will reinforce learning and correct some of the misconception about the use of communication devices. So the next of it is to assess performance and to evaluate students' understanding and mastery of the topic, and enhance retention and transfer. The main objective is to help students retain information and understand it at the broader applications. So we do this at the end of the topic. We do what we call the summative activities that we can do to assess the performance, to give quizzes, short quizzes and practical examination questions, demonstration, giving them group works, and all this. And all this is done to elicit their performance and also bring out what they have learned. And so today, I think this brings us to the end of this video when it talks to the whole model of e-learning. This is what we talk about when we want to apply these instructions in the teaching field. So as tutors and teachers, we expect that we go on with more with the practicals so that we can get to understand the GAGNE instruction of using GAGNE instruction event. Ensure that learners are engaged. So at the end of the day, what we have done is ensure that everybody has been engaged, informally, able to apply their knowledge of data communication effectively. Thank you very much. And as I come to the end of this video, do not hesitate, or you can click on the subscribe button down there and subscribe to our channel, and also the notification button. Like it. Anytime that we share similar videos, you'll be able to get notification. Thank you very much.